Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Insta360 One R. This is a modular action camera that sports a 1-inch sensor, retails for $550 US, and it has been delayed for what feels like forever. But hopefully Insta360 has gotten it together and we do finally have a polished product. Now the beauty of this, as I mentioned, is that 1-inch sensor that Insta claims they co-engineered with Leica, but we'll see what the quality is like when I actually get to test it. The other cool part about this is that if you don't care about the 1-inch sensor, which that's really the main selling point for me, you can go with the other mods. So whether you're interested in just getting a strictly 4K wide angle mod or the 360-degree mod, you have a lot of versatility with this, again, because it is a modular solution, unlike any other action camera, or even camera really for that matter, ever made. In the box, we get the core, essentially the brain right there, and then the 1-inch wide angle mod, which has the 1-inch sensor, as well as the wide angle lens that sports Leica branding, the battery base, the mounting bracket, and charge cable. And that's it. So really, this is a matter of what you're looking for in the action cam space. The only thing comparable to this, oh, and by the way, I'll run through this very quickly, is something like Sony's RX0 line, but the RX0 never, not even the current version, maybe the next one, does not have continuous autofocus, something that this does have. It's capable of shooting up to 5.3K footage at 30 frames per second. Of course, 4K at 60 frames, 19 megapixels. In terms of the sensor rating, it is a 1-inch sensor. It, of course, has stabilization, and it is waterproof to 5 meters. Voice control, reversible touchscreen. We already discussed the adaptive design, hyperlapse capability, HDR capability, and night shooting. Let's get this thing open. Didn't mean for it to run that long. But again, I'm really excited about this because what I have been working with all of this time, I'm not a huge action cam fan because I feel like it's good to have one, but it's the type of thing that you either are really committed to and you don't like using other cameras, or you use it as a complementary device, and that's what I see it purely as. I've been using, since launch, the Osmo Action from DJI, and that is a very good offering at its price point. This, of course, promises to be much more than that because of the 1-inch sensor. And again, the only thing you can really compare it to is Sony's RX0, as I mentioned earlier. And while that has a lot of promise, and maybe Sony's going to fix all of the potential issues with it in their next revision, it still wasn't at its price point attractive enough for me personally. Doesn't mean it's not great for others. And here is, again, for reference point, the DJI Osmo Action, which again at its price is really hard to beat with all of its features, but this presents a whole new approach, a new concept. The fact that it's modular, the fact that we have a 1-inch sensor, these are all things that are speaking my language. And then the fact that the core can be turned around, so instead of thinking, well, we need to put a screen on this side as well, like DJI did with the Osmo Action, here you can just flip this around to whichever orientation you need. So if you're filming and you're behind it, you're fine. If you are doing a vlog, want to make sure you're in frame, you can just flip this cube around. The battery is here in the base. I mean, it's just a very cool concept, and I'm looking forward to testing it out. Now, a lot of the early reviews, I think they had image quality problems. I'm trying to find the seam here. Always gives me trouble. But hopefully, because this has been in the oven now for so long, hopefully that is not an issue we're going to encounter here in the final product. Most retailers still will show this as out of stock, aka pre-order only. I was able to find it through Adorama. They have inventory. I'm sure it'll move pretty quickly, even though how many people want an action camera in the middle of a pandemic remains to be seen. But I know I was waiting for this a really long time, and if it doesn't disappoint, this is going to become a go-to device for me, no question about it, because I mean, it's kind of the action cam that I've been waiting for, even though I, do enjoy the DJI Osmo Action. This takes it to another level. So micro SD card slot right there, Type-C connection for charging and connectivity. I believe you can also use Bluetooth headphones to monitor as well as record audio directly to this. See if I can get that back in. That's still not correct. But it is about as modern an action camera as it could possibly be, especially the fact that it's a system that you can grow with. You want to get rid of the 1-inch sensor. You want something a little more versatile, wider angle with the 4K sensor, throw that on. You want the 360 degree, throw that on. It does become, a bit of an expensive proposition at the end of the day, though, because you will be spending, I think, to get all three in one, it's over $700 US. So it does get expensive. This pull tab makes you think it'll just pop out. Will it? Yes, it will. So nothing else in here. I'm expecting everything else that I described to be in this box, which is the charging cable, the mount, and of course the enclosure. So here we've got the Type-C to Type-A charging cable. We have the actual mount, a la GoPro and what everybody else uses these days. So, if you want to hook this up to pretty much anything, this is going to give you that flexibility. And then we just have, what do we have here? We have, this is just to keep it fresh, I take it. Oh. Okay, so it's not just to keep it fresh. That's to make sure that you don't get foggy on the lens, it appears. Some decals, what appears to be a microfiber cloth, and the paperwork associated with this, instructions, etc. And then in here, we have the actual mounting equipment, that standard issue with this or any GoPro or DJI, Osmo Action, you name it. So again, this is all going to be about the video performance with this, with the 1-inch sensor, because we've never had an option like this, but now we do. And while $550 sounds like a lot, again, when I think about the cost that Sony throws on the RX0, even though granted, this is, it doesn't feel like a tank the way the Sony does, I still am expecting good things out of this. See if it powers up, if it has any charge. It should, because it is brand spanking new, but it may not. And I've done a long press, I've done a short, and it doesn't look like we have any power. But don't worry, I'm going to start using this thing fairly quickly because, again, I am very excited about the possibility of this becoming a new go-to for me. Got a quick release right here, which I assume takes everything off. So there is the base itself that contains the battery. I don't know what battery life is like, but of course I'm going to report back. And then these two separate. Let's see if I can figure it out instructionless. That's pretty simple. So there you have it, totally broken down. And this is the beauty. If you want to flip around the screen, you can. If you want to throw in a completely different module, you can. I imagine getting additional units of the base where the battery is built in, another thing that you can carry. So it just makes sense. And again, if the image quality is what I hope for it to be, then this is going to be a fantastic new piece of kit in my arsenal. On the other hand, I've seen a lot of negative feedback about the 1-inch sensor being no good for vlogging because it simply isn't pulling the primary subject into focus without a pretty decent amount of space between the unit and the subject. Depth of field is an issue. We'll see if that really rings true because I've seen mixed things. I've seen some people have problems and I've seen other people produce amazing footage that doesn't seem to be as distanced as what I've been hearing you need to accomplish with the One R. So again, 1-inch sensor, $550 action cam that can pretty much do it all, or at least I'm hoping. We'll see how it compares, and I will compare it directly to the DJI Osmo Action, and maybe the Pocket, even though the Osmo Pocket is not an action camera. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Stay safe. Later.